Welcome to Standpoint. I'm Ibrahim Shita. All through the week, one word that resonated in the polity is RUGA. It is the name the federal government put forth for its planned settlement for herders. The initiative was vehemently rejected by those from the southern and middle belt regions. The opposition was so strong that the federal government had to suspend the project, stating that it was not consistent with its national livestock transformation plan. I have with me in the studio to talk more on this matter, a journalist, Agba Jalingo. Also in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Great Imo. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
That's amazing.
Well, condemnations and commendations have been pouring in after the federal government announced the suspension of RUGA projects. From the south and north central, it is mostly good vibes, though Afenifere and Pandev says the suspension is just a ploy to buy time, calling for the outright cancellation of the project. Now, Great Imo, let me start with you. How do you see this initiative of RUGA? Now it has been suspended. Maybe you're happy that it has been suspended, as so many Nigerians are saying, we don't want this thing to be implemented.
Well, you were looking at Agba.
Oh,
You
okay,
were calling
okay.
Great Imo.
Okay, pardon me.
I
Okay.
would actually like Agba to talk because Agba is a herdsman. He has,
Go ahead, go
he
ahead,
has
go
a
a-
lot of cattle.
Go ahead.
But arising from that, I know that knowing that I have friends like Agba who have, Agba should have up to 1,000 cattle right now.
You're just
Because-
assuming too many things.
But
just now.
you've had cattle for a long time. So
You can go ahead.
Okay,
no problem.
okay, okay, gentlemen.
But he's not a Fulani herdsman.
No.
Agba is a cross-variant herdsman.
No problem.
So we have so many people like Agba who also have cattle. So, but I think one of the challenges in this was that, which is a consistent challenge in this government, is that those who manage information under President Buhari have not done too well. We must say that. There's nothing wrong in federal government proposing anything, but information is key. In a social environment, a cosmopolitan society like ours, where there are a lot of sensitivities, and we know that whether we like it or not, you know, over the years, politicians have hammered on our dividing lines, and it has become so widened. So there is this mutual suspicion that always reign in a means of or any government proposition, depending on who is in power. So, and having considered that, it's important that those who manage government information must be tapped in their disposition. For example, we had Sheikh Garba come out to say RUGA is a Fulani language for, you know, rural settlement, and then also imputed it on the office of the vice president, which thereafter the office of the vice president denied involvement in that, and also said that there was another plan different from whatever RUGA was.
Don't you think that was a misconception that it's a Hausa language, rather it's
No,
a
people
rural
were acting
grazing
based
areas?
on what was said. Let me even say, to the extent that someone who works in the presidency said that this is domiciled in the office of the vice president, and there was a press release from the office of the vice president denying involvement in whatever RUGA it was. Whether it was a good initiative or not, nobody bothered to know. But that the office of vice president, outside the president, that's the highest office in the land. For such an office to deny involvement in RUGA ab initio makes the program suspicious. Not that it was a bad program, whatever the program it was, Nigerians didn't bother to even to look down the line to know what were the caveats.
Okay.
But for the fact that somebody working under the presidency had come to say, vice president knows about this, and the vice of the vice president, at the level of the presidency, there was confusion, which was what? Poor information management.
Okay,
And
you've established the point. You've
Yes,
established
so
the
that
point
is
that,
the key problem
that
before we
whether
start dealing with
it's
any
a
other
good
thing.
initiative or not,
Nobody bothered because
the information is
the information management was poor.
Now,
And
Agba.
it has always been.
All right.
Also, as regards to
I'll
other
definitely
issues.
come back to you. Agba, well, this initiative is being said that it's just going to solve the crisis between or among the Fulani herdsmen and also the farmer herders clashes, let me just put it there, and the host communities. Is this the way you also see it too?
Well, that depends on the real interpretation of RUGA to the understanding of the public. Because even as enlightened as I think I am, with the back and forth that is going on, I seem to be confused about what the real meaning of RUGA is. But if you ask me, I will think that this federal government has proposed, to the best of my knowledge, about 4 things. We've heard about ranching, we've heard about cattle colonies, we've heard about grazing routes, and we're now hearing about RUGA. But as far as I'm concerned, like I always say, lies are better told in English language. When you want to lie, you use English language. For instance, if you say cataclysmic eruptions of infernal propensity, somebody could think you are speaking English, but you cannot interpret that in Yoruba language. You cannot interpret that directly in my native language.
What is the point you're trying to make?
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that these 4 names for me mean the same thing. The attempt to see how we can get the headers and the farmers in all parts of the country to work together in peace. And like Great Imo was saying, I look forward to owning plenty of cattle, but to the best of my knowledge, I have staff in Cross River Watch who own cattle. The Obong of Calabar, where I come from in my state, own cattle. I'm from Obudu, I'm not from Calabar, but we are all in Cross River State. He owns cattle. My former local government chairman in Obudu owns cattle. And in my village, just about 7 days ago, these cattle that are owned by our indigents climbed, or we now go and hire Fulani boys and boys, not girls, boys who wield those sticks to come and take care of our cattle. And then they take them and climb our mountains. Our people became scared. I'm using my village as an example now. Became scared that.
Try to remind us, where exactly is that place?
Bedia village in Obudu local government in Cross River State.
Cross River. Good.
Yeah. Now they're like, oh, they are now coming down from the mountain to buy pepper, buy gari, and take upstairs. They are beginning to form communities up there. It's suspicious. We need to bring them downstairs. I am here in Lagos. We organize ourselves and say, okay, that sounds reasonable. Let's bring them downstairs first as a short-term measure. Now they are down. They are still roaming around with the cows and still loitering. They are spewing dungs on our streets, primary school fields, open fields. But the people cannot do anything because the cows are owned by indigents.
These are your, yeah, of course, these are your cows.
Yeah.
That are owned by you.
Indigents.
So whatever they do to your farm,
there's very little resistance.
It's not going to rattle you.
So what I'm saying is that if government is now trying, if there's any program from government that is trying to bring all these activities under one roof, in a place where what is going on randomly can begin to go on in one place, then possibly with incentives like machines that can milk the cow better instead of using bare hands to press.
No,
and do
I think
all those things,
let's
it
put
will be
it
better
let's
for me.
put it,
Whether you
let's
call
put
it
it in the
RUGA
right
or grazing routes or ranching, whatever can bring all of these activities under one roof, I am in support of it.
Let's put it in right perspective. People are not saying that we shouldn't rear cattle, that we shouldn't raise cows, that no. But do not bring, maybe that is the contention, that do not bring the so-called northerners or the so-called Fulani herdsmen who are the bad ones among them, causing clashes or killing people and also people retaliating and killing them. Do not bring them down to the south, and also let the south be for the south and let the north be for the north.
No, I will also be opposed to any attempt to form exclusive Fulani settlements in any part of the country. But you see, from what I learned, even the RUGA thing was voluntary. The federal government, even those who are talking about RUGA, said it is only state governors. The Land Use Act vests the authority over land in Nigeria exclusively on governors. And the federal government said there's 100 billion naira grant available. Okay. Assume that grant came from Bill Gates Foundation or Ford Foundation. And the government is simply saying 100 billion naira is available. Any state governor that is interested in accessing this grant, provide a space so that federal government can use part of that money to provide facilities in that state for herders to go there and rear cows. I agree with that, but what I quarrel with, or what I really don't understand, is whether is the federal government saying that they are going to establish exclusively Fulani settlements in other people's lands. That I disagree with. But if it is what I understand, where they say that owners of cattle can form cooperatives, because what I understand is that they said cattle herders will form cooperatives, and those cooperatives will now go and get land lease agreements from state governors who have made land available, and then they will now operate based on the agreements that have been agreed between the state government and the cattle herders. For me, I am comfortable with that. But the idea of establishing exclusive Fulani settlement behind people's backyard, I am not comfortable with that. But if it is strictly for herders, we own cows. 90% of cows in southern Nigeria are not owned by Fulanis.
Okay, well, Great Imo, now, this has really angered some of the northerners, saying that especially the northern nations, saying that they are giving the federal government 30-day ultimatum to every southerner, saying that the federal government must implement this, and then otherwise every southerner must definitely vacate the northern part of the country. Has it really come to this?
And I think that is actually the real issue because, like Agba just said, there is the wrong perception here, which I think has not been managed with that. RUGA is about settling Fulanis in different parts of Nigeria, giving them exclusive business environment funded with federal government money, which supposedly is supposed to be a private business. Now, such statements as you see Mark Ben and the rest do make are the issues that reinforces this perception. And honestly, we must deal with that. If you make people believe that this federal government initiative, which is supposed to be a national program that is meant to solve problems that all of us are facing, you make it look like it is your own problem, and then it's borders on your ethnic interest. You create that perception, and that must be first managed. That is the honest truth. That's the honest truth. I support the idea of, I don't think, like Agba said, that whether it's ranching, RUGA, they mean this. They don't mean the same thing. Ranching is a business. First and foremost, it's a private business. And anybody in a private business, whether a farmer or a herder, government can give certain level of support. You make it look like Anchor Borrower Program is a support to farmers. You can actually
ranching is not a private business. I have a ranch in Obudu. The first ranch in Nigeria was built in 1956 in Obudu. It was built by government. It's not private. So you say ranching is a private business.
No,
It's not.
Now, let me explain
Let's take
myself.
one at a time.
Does not mean people don't have private ranches. Are you arguing that?
No, they do.
Thank you. So if you are going to make it ranching, because the two things you need to deal with is whether it is ethnicized ranching, or you want to solve problem across the 36 states, of which you can say we are making 10 billion available to every state to create a ranch where people you can invest. It is the exclusive in the exclusive ownership of the state. You can even employ Fulanis who are skilled in cow management to come and run it, but they are working for the state government. But you invest and people know that the ownership belongs to the state, the cows belong to the state, but it is sponsored by federal government. But where you ethnicize the idea, or like the McBain and the rest are now making it look like it's an ethnic thing, which is why I say perception is key. And in communication, we tell you that perception is stronger than what? Reality. So in communication, you must deal with what people perceive that makes it very, very volatile. And these statements, like you have mentioned, are the statements that are fueling this wrong perception about this.
Right,
so why should the northern Nigeria make it look like a federal government project is their project? Why? Nobody will be comfortable about that.
We'll definitely come back to this. Great Timo, you've made a valid point, and then as well as Agba. But we'll take a break now and also definitely explore the economic benefits. As some have really argued that there are some economic benefits today. So we're going to look at these in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Standpoint. And then I've been talking to Agba Jalingo and also Great Imo on the contention about RUGA, whether it's a good initiative or bad initiative for the federal government to implement. Well, I'll start off with you on this second half. Is it that we are just being sentimental about this particular RUGA initiative that is suspended by the federal government? Maybe there are some economic benefits we are not really trying to really understand based on what the federal government is saying. But he's also maintaining that maybe the information is what is wrong.
You see, this government has become characteristic with mismanaging information. My name Jalingo is a Fulani name.
And you own a cow?
I personally do not own cows. I have staff who work with me who own cattle rather. Yeah, some of my staff. I encourage my staff to do business. I'm a businessman. I invest in other places. I don't have interest in livestock farming. But I have staff. No, I do have. Because I have a poultry. I don't know whether that's livestock, whatever you call it, but I have a poultry. I don't know how to describe it.
Poultry, what you read there are birds.
Yeah, birds and fishes.
But you
so
don't
I don't know
have
whether
They are in the family of livestock.
Yeah, if I feel that maybe cow may not be, a cow takes so much time to put
go ahead. Just
but I have staff who have
attend the question,
cow and all of that. I'm saying that all over the world, the meat industry is a very rich industry. And this is something that Nigeria should not play with. And I don't know of any law, any ordinance anywhere in the world that says that it's only Fulani people that can rear cows. I know of several. Botswana doesn't have Fulanis. And they have more cows in Botswana than human beings. And I'm sure that it is professionals that are doing all of that. I have suggested that if I had 10 people in my village, in Obudu, for instance, who own cattle, all of them can come together, form a cooperative, and then use that cooperative as a smallholder farm to access the 100 billion naira grant and develop a facility. We travel. I've seen places where even sheep, they are, see, even these Fulani cattle are not even healthy. If we can have settlements or ranches where we can bring cows, people can go and get cows that can yield better, produce better milk, more milk. There are even some species of goats that can give you better milk than the ones that we have around. And I believe that all of these initiatives can begin to come in only when we have specialized settlements with experts that can begin to look at all these things.
Okay, good initiative, but the argument is that, well, the government does not have any business in doing business.
That's not true.
So
that's not
why
true.
should we have?
We are
RUGA?
spending a lot of money. For instance, when people say that argument, in my own opinion, I consider it very silly. I see government building free trade zones across the country. I gave the example of the Anchor Borrowers Program. Government earmarked 500 billion naira to support rice farmers all over the country, across the state. Government is building trade centers. Every business, including those who sell spare parts, including people who sell agbo, everybody is asking that government should provide money to make the business environment comfortable for businessmen. Why should it be different for livestock farmers? They are farmers. Livestock farming is a form of agriculture, and they also deserve government support.
Great, Timo. Are you also worried whether because virtually all the 11 states that are in support of this initiative are predominantly from the north, and then majorly from other parts of the country, they are not keen into this initiative? Does it make you feel uneasy?
Yes, it does, in the sense that it still borrows from the point I've raised earlier, in the sense that if you look deeply into this issue, you know that having ranches is a beautiful idea. It will solve this mobility of cow rearers, security issue, infiltration, in the sense that because our borders are still porous. When we talk about Fulani, in fact, the bigger challenge here is that the Fulanis that we have lived with here over the years are not known to be troublemakers.
Like Agba
Agba, yes, is a cross-riverian Fulani. I have Fulani friends, and we have lived in the midst, even as kids growing up, we used to follow them around with their cows in our villages. There was a peaceful atmosphere. But there are issues of climate change, you know, desert encroachment, and then lots of grasses in those regions, the Sahel region, from Mali to Sudan, all of those are drying up. And then this cross-border, you know, issues, whereby maybe Fulanis and other cow rearers and herders from other countries migrate into Nigeria at will. And with what is going in the northeast, these things may have been happening over the years towards that end, upper north, but we didn't know. But now that there's crisis in the northeast, pressure begins to pile up towards the south. So we are beginning to experience those things that are not natural occurrence to us. And with those foreign elements coming in, some of them coming with AK-47, that is actually the real problem. At the time, government said some of these invaders and bandits are not Nigerians. And absolutely, you know, because there's crisis in Mali, there's a crisis in Sudan, and other places. So some of these infiltrate with light arms and weapons. They come here, try to force themselves into the settlement. Some of them, the average Fulani here always had a settlement.
With this your analysis, you are trying to say, or are you posing that this initiative is good?
The initiative is good.
But the fear is that we don't want people to come from outside of the country.
Renting is good. And also impositing the business idea.
No, we are talking RUGA here.
Yes.
RUGA is good. Is that what you're saying?
Now, I have a problem with concepts. That is branding.
So we should change
because
the nomenclature.
in a cosmopolitan society, and even in a modern society, in presenting a cosmopolitan idea, you must deal with issues of misconception.
Okay, I need to quickly take this away from you and but before I take it to him, do you subscribe to the federal government's position that it's because we are faced with unemployment, and the federal government says this could create 2,000 jobs?
It can create as much as even 15 million jobs if it is rightly done. The bigger issue we must deal with, these things, all these protests are symptoms of the real issue. We have mutual suspicion amongst ourselves as a nation. The political class have divided us politically, religiously, ethnically, And it is difficult to drive a concept very on a slap of a finger. So in developing a national concept in a cosmopolitan society like ours, you must be careful to have these things in mind. So that instead of using RUGA, where an Igbo man, a Yoruba man thinks that it's a Fulani language,
Okay.
I use an English word because we're a cosmopolitan society.
Okay.
Say,
Okay.
let's do wrenching.
Okay.
And this is how it
Okay.
works.
They said
Everybody's
that.
involved
Agba,
and everybody will
Agba,
benefit.
I
And
want
then
you
we'll
to-
have solutions very
I
easily.
want you to weigh in on this. You know, there is this also that the part of the country is keen into, you know, we find it very difficult to keen to suppose national projects, which others outrightly reject that particular kind of a project. Now we are calling for national cohesion. Can this be realizable? Can we achieve this in this country?
National cohesion must also recognize diversity. Any ideal that pursues national cohesion without recognizing diversity will fail woefully. Even in America, there are states in some parts of America that up till today that we're talking are still dealing with cattle rustling. As a matter of fact, last year, the American Cattle Raiders Association said that cattle worth more than $150 million were rustled last year. So it's not only in Nigeria that we have cattle rustling. It's still a problem even in states like Ohio and all of that in America. It's still a challenge up to tomorrow, where criminal cowboys are still hanging on cows and going to rustle cows. It's not only a Nigerian thing. But having said that, I need to put it very clear that Nigerians that are rejecting everything that the government brings, there was a time that the surface area of Lake Chad was 25,000 square kilometers. And that was supporting 4 countries, Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, and Nigeria. And presently, as we talk, 90% of the surface area of Lake Chad has disappeared. It has shrinked to 2,500 square kilometers. And the life and the economics and the commerce that the 90% surface area of Lake Chad was supporting has diminished and shrink completely.
We are taking it home now.
Yeah, so
And then
because of that,
we're in the quest for national cohesion.
I agree with you.
So I'd like you to...
Yeah, so because of that,
approach.
there's a need, like he said earlier on, the farmers and the herders are moving inward to find a replacement for what they used to get from Lake Chad. The only way we can solve this problem is to find a magic one to re-expand Lake Chad to what it used to be, or to provide alternative places for these people who have lost their grazing areas around Lake Chad to be able to find new grazing areas. But for the rest of the country to think that we can continue to pretend as if the Fulanis are not part of this country is never going to work. We can only insist that whatever is going on in different, 90% of the cattle in southern Nigeria are not owned by Fulanis. And whatever we are doing today to keep them in peace, we should find a way to bring it under one roof, where government can enhance that with facilities with this grant that has been given, so that we can improve on our animal products.
So what would you like to recommend as the way forward?
Number one is that the concept for moving any modern society forward is as recommended in the Bible as a Christian. Habakkuk chapter 2 demands that it said, write the vision down. That means you have to plan. And in planning, you take all the diversities into place, that you write it down, you note it. Then you say, make it plain. Don't come and you bring out something, assume that Nigerians will understand. You just toss it there. Make it plain. So that he who reads will run with it. So if he understands, and it becomes easy to run with. So all these concepts, and in education, we usually say people who think that going to school to speak English and French is education. No, it is about system for solving human problems. We have systems all over the world in various angles that from which you can solve human problems. And this is one of the systems. Habakkuk chapter 2 is one of the fundamental principles for solving cosmopolitan problems.
Is that why you say we should not criticize?
Your point is made.
You see,
you've made your point.
Agba is traditionally.
Besides, RUGA is rural grazing areas.
We are pressed for time. We need to go. We need to go.
Thank you. Thank you,
guys.
So
thank you, guys.
But why did you say we should not criticize?
We'll continue this. We'll continue this.
What do you understand about his response?
We need to sign out now. Journalists, thank you so much, journalist Agba Jalingo, as well as great team of public affairs analysts. Well, we provoked the debate, and then it's left for us to really look into all of these and find a national way to unite Nigerians. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch a repeat of this edition today by 7:30 p.m. and tomorrow by 7:30 a.m. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Bye now.